High school football fans, and welcome to the 7th annual All-Star Football Extravaganza from the Golden Corral Steakhouse here in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. Again, we have the 28 best high school football players that the Walker and Catoosa County area has to offer. I want to thank everybody for tuning in at home, watching in tonight, and everybody that showed up here at the Golden Corral Steakhouse. I want to make sure we thank Jerry Torretta of the Golden Corral, who yearly has hosted this event. And I remember some 7 years ago, we were sitting out here at one of these tables and talking about this. He's always been very interested in the youth. And we got to talking, and we wondered who we could get involved with us. We didn't have to go too far to the Community Federal Savings Bank right over here behind me and sit down and talk with John Palmer. After talking to Mr. Palmer 2 or 3 minutes, he said, yeah, let's do it. And ever since then, year in, year out, these guys have sponsored this. And it's just something that we want to do for you high school football players in this area. Give you another reason to play, something that you can put on your wall and look back on in the future and remember what kind of football player you were and the honors that you received. I know it's really exciting because people that have been through our schools around here and been at the extravaganza, won awards, now are coming back and coaching in the area. So it really seems like it's, well, of course, this will be actually our 8th year, and we're really excited about it, and we're excited about you guys. It seems like every year the ability seems to be getting a little bit better and better and better. It seems like we compete more on a statewide level than we did when we first started. I know this year, Lafayette High School, I had the honor of watching them play against a Cartersville team that won the AA state championship. And if you watch the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos play last Sunday, I don't think it was a doubt in anybody's mind that Denver should have won that football game. They whipped them all over the field. Well, that Friday night, I know Coach Brown was down there from Lakeview, and we were down there watching the game. There was no doubt in my mind that Lafayette High School whipped the Georgia State champions that night. They beat Cartersville everywhere except on the scoreboard, and that happens sometimes. So we know now we can compete with anybody throughout the state. We know last year at Gordon Lee High School against an East Rome team that traditionally is one of the best around in single A. Beat them one time and was that close to beating them another time. So we know now we can compete in this area with anybody. I know I got a personal thrill this year when Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe hosted Polk County, state-ranked Polk County. And I work for the Chattanooga News Free Press, and I have to listen to all those Tennessee sports writers all the time, and he tells me how that they're surprised that I wore shoes to work, and they're really excited about the fact that I still don't wear my hair greased down with possum fat on it and all that. But I love beating these Tennessee schools, and I think state-ranked Polk County was 40-something to 7, or it was. Coach Brown took it easy on them. It could have been as bad as it needed to be. So the point I'm trying to make is this area doesn't have to take back seat to anybody. They're getting better. You guys are getting better. And I look for more bigger and better things for y'all in the future. Let me introduce some people now that I consider special guests, because if it wasn't for them, none of us would be here. And that's the high school football coaches in the area. And we have the Athletes of the Year through Community Federal Savings Bank. Mr. Palmer sponsors that. And all you guys fill out these things and who's meant something to you and what you want to do in the future. And I got to looking at some of them the other day, and I was so surprised, or impressed, I think's the word, for all you guys that put that you'd like to come back and be a coach, some of the girls that like to come back and coach. And that leaves me thinking that these people leave a lasting impression on you. I know my high school and junior high coaches probably left more, well not probably, I know left more of a lasting impression on me than anybody. Every day when I come up against something, when the odds are against me, I can remember back to those days. And you guys will also do that in your future. And it was proud at my 20-year reunion to look around to football players and to see that those guys had went out in the world, and besides me, everybody else had made something pretty good of themselves. And we were really proud of them and excited. And I think a lot of that tells from the type high school football coach, baseball, basketball, wrestling, tennis, golf, whatever it may be that you have. They're a big influence on your life. And we want to start with the dean, and that means he's been here longer than the rest of them. One of my favorite people, This guy's a great one, I guarantee you. I'd be proud to have any of my family play for him, and that's Mr. Don Patterson Ringo. Coach, stand up, please. Sitting next to him, a guy that I'm real proud of because I watched him kind of grow up playing ball, knew what kind of athlete he was, and I'm really proud of what he has come back and what he has done for Lafayette High School. And we'll talk more about him later. I don't think it's any secret. Y'all all read the paper. He is the Coach of the Year this year for this banquet and for the North Georgia area. And we're talking about Mr. Raven Teague, Lafayette High School. And over to his left is his pretty wife, Beth. Beth, if you will, please stand up. Guys, Raven always did like the girls. And isn't that right, Coach Brown? And on her left over there is one of my favorite people. I remember when he first came to this area, and I tell this story. It's kind of funny now. We coached together one of the first summers he was in the area. He's one of my what I would consider better friends, and I really respect him with utmost respectability. He's done an outstanding job at Lakeview Fort Thorpe High School. He's made people believe in themselves and believe they could win over there, and they have done that. I want to say congratulations, Coach F.E. Brown, Lakeview Fort Thorpe. Will please stand. And the guy on the other side of him, it's not Jim Reynolds. I know some of y'all heard him talking a while ago. It's not Jim Reynolds. It's Michael Brown, and I kid him about this, but Michael's done a good job, and we want to thank him for what he has done in this area, because now on Friday nights you can hear high school football on WFLI, and during basketball season on Tuesday nights and Friday nights and Saturday nights we hear high school basketball, and I'm really proud of Michael because he sells this package himself. He produces it himself. He does it, does the ball games, and he has really done a great job for the area. He's still going to college, and I'm very, very proud of him. And this is Michael Brown. He's the voice on the radio of the North Georgia area. Michael, will stand up. Thanks a whole lot. And this next guy is a new head football coach at Ridgeland High School, Mr. Tony Ellis. No, he is acting football coach tonight at Ridgeland High School. I told him I was going to introduce him as that, no, Tony's another one that I've had the opportunity to watch grow up, had the opportunity to coach him. I think I had to take his shoes away from him a couple of times to keep him from walking home when he'd get mad at me, but he's as big a competitor, has as big a heart, and works as hard as any guy that I've ever seen. Another one that I'm very, very proud of and what he's accomplished. And he's coaching now at Ridgeland High School, and he'll be coaching baseball over there, and we're real proud of him. Tony Ellis from Ridgeland High School, he'll stand. This other guy played football at Gordon Lee, even though we can't find his picture in the program anywhere. Sunny Day and I looked everywhere. We think it is there. But in all sincerity, I have a lot of respect for this man. He's done an outstanding job at Gordon Lee High School. He's done an outstanding job with the football program down there. Put some discipline in. Last year, he took a team, I said this last year, and made some people in Chickamauga mad, so I'll say it one more year and make you mad again. He took a 4-6, 5-5 football team and led them to 9-1. And then when it was all over said and done, they didn't appreciate what he'd done for them. But I appreciate what he's done. He's done a good job, and they'll be back, and they'll be fighting for that region championship again. That's Charlie Hickson of Gordon Lee High School. To my right here, my cohort, he shoots the football games for Gordon Lee and announces them at the same time. He shoots the high school basketball games and announces them at the same time with the camera, and I still haven't figured out how he does that. John Rouse isn't here right now. He also does our basketball games, and he's the voice of the Ridgeland Panthers. But Marshall's been doing this now. Have you been doing it 7 years now? So he's been doing it since he just was out of high school, and I know he really enjoys it. He'll talk to y'all later on, but Marshall Martin, not my little brother anymore. I'm just going to introduce him as Marshall Martin, if you will stand up. I also want to take this time, I said John Rouse is not with us, and John did a great job for us this year, and hopefully he will show up here in a minute. But John's also minister of music at a church over in Tiftonia, and of course it's Wednesday night, and he's ministering music, so he'll probably be here after a while. And Ken Marks, I don't believe is with us tonight, and I'm kind of disappointed that Ken didn't show because he has done such a great job this year at Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe, and he's kind of taken it over. And let me urge all you schools, and Gordon Lee does a good job with it, and all you schools in the area, use us. Use me as much as you need to. I know they did a good job at Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe this year of going out and selling their sponsorships on their ball games and getting enough from to do their ball games on TV. And Gordon Lee does a good job of that. And Ridgeland, you people watching in out there, use us a little bit. Pick up the phone and call us, because what we do this for everybody that don't know out there, is not for dollars and cents. It's my club. It's my civic organization. And if I join all the Kiwanis and all the Junior Optimists and Ruritan and Chambers of Commerce and everything, I can't accomplish what I can accomplish on TV for 2 hours every week and what we can accomplish by putting these kids on the air. So use us. I've got 2 hours of airtime a week on This Week in Sports. If you've got something that needs to be announced, if you've got something coming up, if you've got a kid that needs to be honored, pick up the phone and call me. I don't think I've ever told anybody you couldn't bring a kid on the air. Let's publicize them, and that's what we need to do. We need to publicize this area just a little bit more. I also want to take this opportunity to thank, we've changed up through the years. At one time we had instant replay and all that. We've kind of got back to a little bit simpler because we don't have the staff that we once did, back when actually I was with the station on a full-time basis. But I want to thank everybody that's worked this year to make this thing go, especially Ken and John and those folks. And this is the first year we had women do play-by-play on the ball games. And Ken Marks, well, y'all know Ken. You know why we had, he wanted to make sure he had a girl in the booth with him. But seriously, Debbie Mariakis, Coach Mariakis' wife, did an excellent job on a couple of the ball games, and we really enjoyed her. And then, of course, my wife, Debbie, we had a chance to go down and work with him on the Ringo and Lakeview games, and it was really nice, and the girls did a good job. So girls, thank y'all for helping us out this year and add a little bit of more attractiveness to it. When we come back, we're going to introduce you to the 28 best high school football players for 1991. But right now, we've got to go to a commercial on the AllStar Football Extravaganza 1991. Now I got one. Chris. And welcome back to the 7th Annual All-Star Football Extravaganza here at the Golden Corral Steakhouse in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. I want to thank Community Federal Savings Bank because these nice plaques that we're going to give away here tonight, of course all the trophies just about, we'll tell you if there's something any different, were donated, paid for, by Community Federal Savings Bank, and the plaque read, presented by Community Federal Savings Bank. And starting first with Michael Alexander, a linebacker, junior fullback from Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe. He's the son of Robert and Beverly Alexander. He's all North Georgia honorable mention last year. His best game this year was against Pickens County. He is also a wrestler and plays soccer. His favorite sports team is the Chicago Bears. Favorite star, Chris Zorich. The season was a success, he felt like, because he did his best. And sports taught him never to give up. This kid made 127 tackles this year, and I think the good part about it for Coach F.E. Brown and the Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe Warriors is Michael Alexander will be back again next year. Michael was not able to be with us tonight, but congratulations, Michael Alexander of Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe High School. This is the first brother team I think we've had, Marshall, since the Ogle brothers. Melvin, Calvin, Delvin, all the Ogle brothers. Did we forget anybody? Alvin, Calvin, Melvin, Delvin. There was a bunch of them Ogle brothers. I know that I still remember the Teague. The best line he ever had on TV, he was sitting there with a Gordon Lee and Chattanooga Valley game, and he says, "Good night, Alvin. Good night, Delvin. Good night, Calvin, and good night, Melvin." And so, Robert Alexander, Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe High School, a senior, linebacker, and tailback. Also, of course, the son of Robert and Beverly Alexander. All North Georgia's second team, News Free Press. Hobbies and interests are softball and fishing. His best game this year was against Tryon. He's also a wrestler and a soccer player and involved in track. His favorite sports team is the Atlanta Falcons, and his favorite sports star is Herschel Walker. Fine multi-sport athlete, a hard runner, had over 600 yards rushing this year. I think 70 or 80 tackles for Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe, and Robert Alexander, pretty good football player from Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe High School. Congratulations. Jonathan Allen, Ridgeland High School. Jonathan Allen is senior, quarterback, safety, and punter. He's the son of Richard and Rebecca Allen. He was a super sophomore, won the Dedication and Hustle Award. His hobbies and interests are sports in general. His best game this year was against Ringo. His other sports are baseball. He's also involved in Beta Club, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and Student Council. His favorite sports team is the Atlanta Braves. His favorite sports star, I like this one, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and he's still not in the Hall of Fame. His season was a success because he personally didn't play up to his expectations, and the sports has taught him to be disciplined and how to cope with everyday problems. A good football player, I guarantee he'll rally you from a safety spot. He played quarterback at the first of the year. They asked him to make a move, and he made the move to help the team. Jonathan Allen, Ridgeland High School. Jonathan, you're the first one from now on, guys. When I mention your name, get up and start walking. Congratulations.
I'd like to thank you for this award. I'd like to thank everybody that made this possible for me. I'd like to thank the coaching staff, thank my family, and I'd like to thank the good Lord.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks, buddy.
Gordon Lee High School, Blake Andrews, a junior guard and linebacker, the son of Gary and Roseanne Andrews. He's a member of the National Honor Society. His hobbies and interests are collecting baseball cards and comics, and he reads horror novels. His best game this year was against Bremen. He's involved in tennis. He's a member of the Student Council. His favorite sports team is the Georgia Bulldogs. His favorite sports star is Garrison Hurst. His season was a success because he worked hard and became a two-way starter. Sports taught him that you have to work hard to get anything worth having. Blake Andrews, Gordon Lee High School.
I'd like to thank you for this award. I'd like to thank my family, the coaches, and my teammates. Thank you.
You know, high school football is about the people like Blake Andrews. There's going to be guards here bigger, there's going to be tackles here bigger, there's going to be safeties here bigger. But, when you go to the heart, Blake Andrews will get after you, and he's that kind of player. And he'll be back again next year, and I'm sure Coach Hickson's glad about that. Ringgold High School, Paul Baggett Jr., running back, son of Jack and Martha Baggett. Most improved and best offensive back are awards he's received. Hobbies and interests are hunting and fishing. Best game was against Northwest Whitfield. He likes baseball, also plays baseball. His favorite sports team is the Georgia Bulldogs. Favorite sports star is Darryl Strawberry. And the season was a success because he felt that he improved and became stronger over the season. Sports has taught him self-discipline and courage. A fine running back, he can make things happen when he gets the ball in his hand. Mr. Paul Baggett of Ringgold High School.
I'd like to thank for this award. I'd like to thank my coaches, players, and my family, and the good Lord. Thank you.
Another one of our, not second generation, same family, but of course his brother was double-barreled, Darryl, that just had, I think he carried a load of trophies out of here one night, fine athlete, and he's playing baseball now up at Cleveland State. Howard Baker, Lafayette High School, senior fullback, son of George and Marilyn Baker, athletic and academic honors, best hustle award. in football. Hobbies and interests are weightlifting. Best game this year was against Cartersville. He's involved in wrestling and track. Favorite sports team is the Atlanta Falcons. Favorite sports star is Ronnie Lott. And why was this season a success? Because I set my goals and I achieved them. Howard Baker is not a very big running back, but when Howard Baker hits the line of scrimmage, he's got heart, soul, and everything going straight ahead. He did an outstanding job this year for Lafayette, and he was fun to watch play. He's not with us tonight, but we'll congratulate Howard Baker on a fine season. Eric Bennett, Ringgold High School, a sophomore, defensive back and running back. His parents are Willie Mae Rutledge. Athletic and academic honors was best defensive back. Hobbies and interests, fishing and playing basketball. Best game was against Northwest Whitfield. He also plays basketball and runs track. Favorite sports team, Chicago Bulls. Favorite sports star was not available. His season was a success because he got better at his position. And sports has taught him that you can't always depend on it. There's always something else out there. Eric Bennett, when he touches the football, makes things happen. And I'm sure you coaches around the North Georgia area are going to find out more and more about Eric Bennett as the next few seasons go by. He had over 600 yards rushing this year, had an outstanding season for Ringgold High School. He's not with us either, but a good year for Eric Bennett. Rodney Buchanan, Ridgeland High School, sophomore, position tailback. He's the son of Robert and Wanda Buchanan. His best game was Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe, and Tryon. Basketball and track are his other sports activities. His favorite sports team was the Detroit Lions. His favorite sports star, the Rocket, Rahib Ishmael. His season was a success because I stayed focused and did what I had to do. Sports has taught him to take it one day at a time and never be intimidated by anyone. Rodney Buchanan was not intimidated, carrying the ball 118 times, 826 yards, a 7-yard average per carry, and 4 touchdowns. I had the opportunity to watch a few of those touchdowns this year. He's got a lot of ability, and if he remains focused, as he says, you're going to hear a lot more out of Rodney Buchanan as the years go by.
I would like to thank you for this award, and I would like to thank you.
So MC Hammer's job's not in doubt, you know what I mean? Had the opportunity. I played football in high school with his father, so it really is second generation there, and his dad was a good one too. Steve Burgess, Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe High School senior, defensive back, receiver. The son of Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd Burgess. Made all North Georgia second team, best defensive back award, top 10% in the nation. Beta Club. Hobbies and interests are tennis and fishing. Best game was against Gordon Central. Other sports activities, golf. He's also a member of the Key Club. Favorite sports team is the Atlanta Braves. Favorite sports star, John Daly. His season was a success because he gave his best effort. And sports taught him to be a winner and to do his best. Coach Brown said to me about him this year, said he held our defensive secondary together, and he made some big plays for the Lakeview Football Warriors. Steve Burgess.
First of all, I'd like to thank my mom and dad for their support and encouragement. I'd also like to thank my coaches for doing a good job this year. And most importantly, I'd like to thank the good Lord for keeping me safe from injury. Thanks.
Todd Cassell, Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe High School, senior, wide receiver. His mother is Wanda Cassell. He won the Receivers Award and was a member of the News Free Press All-North Georgia team. His hobbies and interests are dating, running, and basketball, and not necessarily in that order. Best game this year was against Tryon. He also plays baseball. His favorite sports team is the LA Raiders. His favorite sports star, who else for a wide receiver but Jerry Rice. His season was a success because they had a good passing attack, and sports taught him you need discipline. Todd Cassell was not able to be with us again tonight, and he had a good season, had a lot of yards receiving, and I think he was a pleasant surprise for the Lakeview Fort Worth Warriors this year, and he did a good job. Todd Cassell. I think it's fitting that this one followed the last one. Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe senior quarterback Sean Crawford. He's the son of Larry and Billy Crawford. He won the pitching award for 3 years in baseball, the coaches award, All North Georgia in baseball, and was Athlete of the Week award winner. His hobbies and interests are collecting baseball cards and fishing. His best game was against Chattooga. In other sports, he plays basketball, baseball. He's also a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Favorite sports team is the Atlanta Braves. Favorite sports star is Deion Sanders. And his season was a success because he worked and tried hard. He threw for over 1,000 yards this year. Was another, I guess you would say, pleasant surprise for the Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe Air Warrior team this year. And he really made things happen on the football field for Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe. Sean Crawford.
I'd like to thank you for this award. I'd like to thank my family, my coaches, and my line. Thank you.
Doesn't Ripien buy his line watches or something like that? Marshall, did any of your quarterbacks ever thank you or buy you anything? How about you, Raven? Did Harker Road ever thank you for anything? I didn't think so. Times are changing a little bit. I appreciate you backs thanking the lineman every now and then. Life's rough in the line, isn't it, Rudy? And it just gets more and more fitting. I guess alphabetical order really happens sometimes like it should be. Tight end, Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe High School, Stephen Donahue. Senior, son of Rick and Glenda Donahue. Most improved in football and baseball. Hobbies and interests are weightlifting and dating. I guess that comes in handy if you got a heavy date, you know. Best game was Westlake. Other sports activities are baseball. Favorite sports team, Morrison Redskins. Favorite sports star, Art Monk. Boy, he's in season this year, isn't he? His season was a success because he's improved from his junior year. He caught 5 touchdowns this year. Sports has taught him, 1, to never quit, and 2, discipline. I think if you were going to carve a tight end out of granite or something, he would look a lot like Stephen Donahue. He did an outstanding job. He didn't catch as many passes as Cassell, but I think his 17 passes he caught probably had as much impact, and especially towards the end of the season, because once he caught the ball, he did a good job of putting it in the end zone. And it's been a pleasure watching him play, and we'll miss Stephen Donahue, fine tight end from Lakeview Fort Worth High School.
I'd like to thank everybody for this award. I'd like to thank my family because I couldn't have got through without them. And I'd like to thank the good Lord for my ability. Thank you.
It's one of these names that you just never spell right. I mean, Stephen, it's right on there today?
No.
The funny thing is, I turned it in one way, and they told me down at the trophy place, said, you misspelled Donahue, and I was worried about that. I thought maybe they knew something I didn't, but we'll get it straightened out for you. It's kind of like Joe Morrison. He said that he coached at Chattanooga for 5 or 6 years, and just when he learned how to spell Chattanooga, they moved to Albuquerque. So, Todd Hood, Gordon Lee High School, junior, tight end, and linebacker. Son of Stanley and Bonnie Hood. Athletic and academic honors, most improved defensive back, team captain, all North Georgia second team, hobbies and interests, hunting and fishing, best game, Bremen, Also plays baseball, likes the Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino. His season was a success because he worked hard every day in practice. Sports has taught him to get what you want, you have to work hard. He's a hard worker. He's a gifted athlete, a tough athlete, and I think that you're going to see him being one of our top college prospects coming back next year if he continues to work. He, for the team's sake, of course, he's a team captain. He moved from quarterback to tight end this year, and you coaches know, and your mamas and daddies know, that's a very, very unselfish thing to do. But he's the kind of football player could probably play any position on the field, and not everybody can say that. Todd Hood.
I'd like to thank UCTV for this award. I'd also like to thank my coaches, my teammates, and most of all, I'd like to thank my family. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. I knew we'd get down to these big linemen in a minute. Johnny Johnson III, Lafayette High School. Senior tackle, big tackle. Son of Marva and Johnny Johnson. He's also the wrestling team leader in all North Georgia in football with the News Free Press. His hobbies are shooting pool, watching movies, and lifting weights. His best game was against Cartersville. He also wrestles, as we told you. His favorite sports team, the Miami Hurricanes. Favorite sports star, Michael Jordan. His season was success through discipline, hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. And sports has taught him discipline and that you have to earn good things through discipline. Johnny Johnson, I'm telling you, this guy can block.
I'd like to thank you for this award. I'd like to thank God for giving me the ability to play this. I'd like to thank Coach Teague especially because he was my coach, and my family, and the rest of my teammates. Thank you.
You made us offensive linemen proud, Big John. We all know that the offensive linemen are the smartest ones on the team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it we're supposed to do after you get through? Commercial. I told you, smart. These offensive linemen are sharp. We're going away to commercial break. Be back with more All-Star Football Extravaganza from the Golden Corral Steakhouse in Fort Oglethorpe in just one moment. All right, Gabe, count to 20 and let's go again. All right, we're in good shape. Let's roll. We're halfway. Let's go. Welcome back to the All-Star Football Extravaganza from the Golden Corral Steakhouse in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, brought to you by Community Federal Savings Bank and the Golden Corral Steakhouse. I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in tonight and everybody that showed up here to show y'all who the best 28 high school football players in North Georgia area are. I want to thank two people that work with us. They weren't with us tonight, but they work with us. They make this all possible. And I'm speaking of Alvin Shipp and Judy Hodges, who are the owners of UCTV3, and they really take time out to help me out with the sports part of it, work around to make sure that we have time to put the football games on the air. And at this time, if you will, a big applause for Alvin Shipp and Judy Hodges. And back to the presentations of the All-Stars. From Ringgold High School, Jason Jones, senior nose guard, son of Donald and Suzanne Jones. He was the best defensive lineman for 2 years. His hobbies and interests are hunting and fishing. His best game this year was against Riverwood. His favorite sports team or other sports or favorite sports star. Well, Jason just doesn't have any. His season was a success because he played harder than ever. And sports has taught him to be disciplined. A very quick, lean, mean, hitting machine as far as nose men go. He's a guy hit right in front of the center that always ended up in the backfield, and he did an outstanding job for Coach Patterson and Ringgold, and he's a guy that, you know, I can relate to. Jason Jones.
I'd just like to thank you for this award, and I'd like to thank all my coaches and my parents for being such a great inspiration. Thank you.
I like them guys like that. That's get to my heart. Ridgeland High School, Jay Metcalf, senior, split end, free safety, son of Art and Janie Metcalf. Best defensive back award he won this year. Hobbies and interests are sports. Best game was against Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe. Other sports are basketball and track. Favorite sports team, the Dallas Cowboys. Favorite sports star, Michael Jordan. You know, Jay Metcalf has a lot of God-given ability. And every time I saw him run a pass pattern or a pass go into his area, defensive back, or where they punted it to him or kicked off to him, you always had a feeling that something exciting was just fixing to happen. He was an exciting athlete. I look for him to go on and play more sports, maybe even some college football. I think Coach Teague probably passed out as good a compliment as anybody did on him when I was doing a story on him earlier this year, when he told about just what kind of outstanding athlete he was and how much trouble that Lafayette had against him. And if Lafayette's defense has trouble, I guarantee you the kid's a good athlete. Jay Metcalf, Ridgeland High School.
First of all, I'd like to thank Community Federal for receiving this plaque, and I'd like to thank my father, Art Metcalf, for being with me. You know, he's been with me for a long time, and he's helped me through football and through my life, and I just hope that he's always with me. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Kevin Morrison Jr., offensive guard for Ringgold High School, the son of Larry and Shelby Morrison, was best offensive lineman for Ringgold. His hobbies and interests are hunting and fishing. Best game was Northwest Whitfield. His favorite sports team is the Georgia Bulldogs. Favorite sports star, Lawrence Taylor. His seasonal success because he felt that he had improved a lot from his sophomore year. Sports has taught him to be disciplined, have self-control, and be the best that you can be in everything that you do. Another one that the good thing about him is we don't know how good he's going to be. He had a good season this year, and he's going to be back. He's going to be bigger, stronger, and meaner and tougher next year, which spells bad for you teams that's got to play Ringgold next year. Kevin Morrison, Ringgold High School.
I'd just like to say thanks to y'all for this award. I'd like to thank my parents, my coaches, and I'd like to thank God for giving me the ability and the strength to play this game. Thank you.
I think Coach Patterson tell you that's one of the big reasons that Bennett and Baggett ended up with 600 and 700 yards rushing this year's guys like that up front blocking. Billy Newbill, Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe senior, guard and nose guard, son of Bill and Jody Newbill. Athletic and academic honors, Best Defensive Lineman Award, All North Georgia, News Free Press, Mr. Warrior this year. Hobbies and interests are fishing, running, and watching TV. Best game was Chattooga and Pickens County. He also was a wrestler. His favorite sports team is the Buffalo Bills. Favorite star is Bruce Smith. His seasonal success because he worked as hard as he could to make things happen. Believe you me, he did that. Sports has taught him that if you try hard in everything you do, you can accomplish anything. This guy's another one. He's not very big in anything but heart, and he's got a very big heart. He was tough to block on the defensive side of the ball, and he was tough to get by on the offensive side of the ball. Size didn't make a whole lot of difference to Billy Newbill. Billy Newbill, Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe.
Let me see here. I'd like to thank my parents, and I'd like to thank the Lord for giving me the ability to play this game. That's the truth. I don't have much size, but that's all I could do was try hard. I'd like to thank my coaches, too. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Jason Parish, senior, running back, Gordon Lee High School, son of James and Sandra Parish. Most improved offensive and defensive back. He was a News Free Press Player of the Week. Hobbies and interests, fishing, computers, collecting baseball cards. His best game was against Ider, Alabama. He also plays baseball. He's on the student council, the NHS, the FCA, senior class treasurer. His favorite sports team is the Georgia Bulldogs. Favorite sports star is Bo Jackson. His seasonal success because he worked hard every day in practice and in the games. Sports has taught him to get anywhere in life, you have to work hard and be disciplined. A very, very good running back. Let me dig his stats up here. Jason Parish had 136 carries, 810 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns. And I tell you something else about Jason Parish. He knew how to play injured. And when he was hurt, he still was out there on Friday night doing his best. Gordon Lee High School running back, defensive back, Jason Parish.
I'd like to thank my parents for helping me out, my coaches, and my teammates, and the Lord. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Lafayette High School kicker, Trey Pendleton, a junior. Also plays defensive end. His mother is Gail Hunter. He was all North Georgia, News Free Press, all Tri-County. His hobbies are lifting weights, movies, caving, and skiing. Best game was against Ringo. He also plays tennis. Favorite sports team, the Miami Hurricanes. His season success through hard work and discipline. Sports has taught him leadership, discipline, teamwork, and things aren't always easy. He's got a very strong leg, and he's a good kicker, and I got a feeling next year he's going to be playing a few more positions besides just kicker for the Lafayette Ramblers. I know that Coach Teague didn't mind putting him in crucial situations, and most of the time he came through for him. Trey Pendleton, Lafayette High School.
I'd like to say thanks for this award to my mom, to Slave Driver, Coach Teague, and to my other coaches. Thank you.
Slave driver, I like it. Slave driver. James Ransom, Ridgeland High School linebacker, senior, son of Darrell and Rosie Ransom. Best special teams player in 1989, football most valuable player in 1991 for the Ridgeland High School. His interests, hobbies are weightlifting. His best game was Central of Carrollton. He also runs track. His favorite sports team, Chicago Bulls. Favorite sports star is Michael Jordan. His season success, because of a positive attitude, and sports has taught him never to give up. He was injured a few times this year, and it would have been easy probably to give up, but he just kept on fighting back and playing whether he had a bad knee or not. I never got a chance to be hit by him, and I'm glad I didn't, because they say that James Ransom packs a pretty doggone good leg. A 4-year starter in high school. That's something a lot of people never have the opportunity to say. James Ransom, Ridgeland High School.
I didn't prepare a speech, so let me see what I got. I'd like to thank the good Lord. I'd like to thank my teammates, my line, my parents, most of all, because they stood behind me through everything I went through. And I'd like to thank Stump Martin. Thank you.
I don't know why you made this team. He used to make me mad. I could walk by and say, Teague, Teague. Jody Roach, Ringgold High School senior, safety, and fullback, son of Joe and Teresa Roach. Won the Coaches Award in 1989, the team most valuable player in 1990. Hobbies and interests are hunting. Best game was against Murray County. Also is a third baseman on the baseball team, likes those Georgia Bulldogs. His favorite sports star is Ronnie Lott. His season success because he had a great time. Sports has taught him how to be disciplined, and if you want something bad enough, you can get it. This kid's tough. He played injured this year, He kept coming back when it would have been easy. I said this about James. I'll say it about Jody too. He's one of these kids that seems like played forever at Ringo. It's going to be sad next year to get out there on the field and it won't be a Jody Roach, because I remember when he was running the ball as against the big teams on that big 9-1 season as just a sophomore, and he was just as important to that football team as any of the seniors. He's always been a place kicker down there, and he's got something to remember at Ringgold High School. More important, the people that watch Ringgold High School have somebody to remember in Jody Roach.
Thank you.
You be Jody Roach.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Lord for the opportunity to play this game. I'd like to thank my mom and dad for all they've done for me. I'd like to thank all the coaches, Coach Patterson and Coach Womack especially. I'd like to thank my teammates and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Oh, I knew I was going to give this one before the night was over. Senior linebacker extraordinaire from Lafayette High School, Casey Rudy. He also played fullback when Coach wasn't paying any attention. Parents, Charles Rudy, Earlene Garrett, all North Georgia, News Free Press, all Tri-State, all Tri-County, Player of the Week 3 different times. Hobbies and interests, weightlifting, riding motorcycles. Best game was against Cartersville. Other sports and activities are track and wrestling and baseball and chasing women. What'd you put that on here for? Favorite sports, I think, Atlanta Falcons. Favorite player, Ronnie Lott. His season success, because we were taught by the best coaches that we were very determined. Sports has taught him that everything doesn't come easy and you have to work hard and set your goals. I tell you, this is what high school football is all about. Linebackers like Casey Rudy. He probably never played for the Miami Dolphins or University of Georgia, but he played high school football at linebacker as good as anybody I've watched come through this area. Casey Rudy, Lafayette High School. I'll get that corrected.
You spelled it wrong, boy.
I didn't.
There's only two people I want to thank for this award. It's Coach Raven Teague, Coach Kevin McElhaney. Thanks.
Isn't that the one that McElhaney claims as a son? That's what I thought. That's his adopted son. Jason Scott, Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe High School, senior linebacker center. Parents are Don and Mary Scott. Was two-time All-North Georgia, All-County Linebacker Award, three-time Lineman Award, All-North Georgia in baseball. His hobbies are studying, dating, and weightlifting. Best game was Pickens County. Other sports were baseball and weightlifting. Favorite sports team, San Francisco 49ers. Favorite sports star, Super Dave Osborne. I love it. Super Dave, okay. His season was a success because he switched to a position more suitable to my size, and he led the team in tackles. Sports has taught him the harder work, the more you get back. I want to make sure I get exactly how many tackles this guy had this year, because, boy, he had a whole bunch of them. 134 tackles. But not only did he make 134 tackles, just about everyone you saw him make, you heard that when he hit them, because, buddy, he's like that old Stop Leak commercial Buckus used to do. When he hits them, they know they've been hit. Jason Scott, Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe.
I'd just like to thank my parents and my coaches and all my teammates that helped this be possible, and thank Community Federal for making this possible. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Yeah, he's the kind that when you sit around talking to coaches, I try to, not to mention being a sports writer, these guys no more than possible, I try to thrive on the fact that I used to be a coach, and coaches sit around and talk this stuff, you talking to them, and they'll say, yeah, Jason Scott, he's a man. Arden Scruggs, Ridgeland High School senior. Defensive tackle, son of Robert and Sally Scruggs, All North Georgia, News Free Press. His interests are cars, football, and weightlifting. His best game was Central Carrollton and Southeast Whitfield. He's a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. His favorite sports team is the Atlanta Falcons. His favorite sports star is Deion Sanders. His seasonal success because being able to compete against everyone. Sports has taught him that nothing will ever come easy in life. A lot of hustle, a lot of determination. In 2 years at Ridgeland High School, and I know James and all the guys, Jonathan, some of the seniors here, and I say this about him too, it would have been easy probably with winning only 2 games in 2 years. But these guys never quit. Arden Scruggs never quit. He played every game like they were undefeated. And I think that's what I'll remember about him most, Arden Scruggs. Thanks, big guy.
I'd like to thank Marvin for this award and everything. I'd like to thank my parents for supporting me. And I'd like to thank Coach Suttles. He pushed me real hard and made me be what I am. And I'd like to thank my brother. Thank you.
Lafayette High School senior, Shane Suttles. Tailback, son of Debbie Suttles. Defensive back of the year last year, All-North Georgia Player of the Week, All-Tri-State, Most Improved in Track. Hobbies are reading, running, lifting weights, and swimming. His best game was against Northwest Georgia. He also runs track. His favorite sports team is the Atlanta Falcons. His favorite sports star was Rodney Light. His season was a success because he worked hard for everything that he got out of this season and because we have the best coaches around. Sports has taught him that nothing comes free and you have to work hard for it. He was a leading rusher with 264 attempts, 1,419 yards, a 5.3 yard average, 15 touchdowns. And most of the time, everybody in the stands and on the field knew who was going to carry the football. I've seen him hit by 4 and 5 at a time and him just keep on going and going. He played hurt in that final ball game against Cartersville. One heck of a football player, one that deserved first team All-State. And I'm talking about Shane Suttles, Lafayette.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for giving me the ability to do as well as I did this year. I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, my grandparents, and my aunt for sticking behind me for everything I did this year. I'd like to thank the offensive line for making the holes for me big enough to run through. Thank you.
Robert Thompson, Ridgeland High School senior, defensive end, tight end, son of Jackie Smith, was a player of the month in basketball with the Rome Tip-Off Club. His hobbies and interests are karate. Best game was Dalton and Northwest Whitfield. Other sports he participated in are track and basketball. Favorite sports team is the Chicago Bulls. Favorite sports star, Michael Jordan. His seasonal success because everyone ran away from my side. And I'm talking to most coaches, that's about as true as it gets. They ran away from him a lot. Sports has taught him to take one day at a time, to always give 110% in everything you do, and never give up. I don't blame him. I'd have ran away from Robert Thompson, too. He's not here with us tonight. Ridgeland High School, Robert Thompson. And last but definitely not least, what'd you say, Johnson? Meathead? Yeah. Meathead. Ricky Willard, Lafayette High School, senior defensive end and tight end, son of Richard and Patty Willard. All North Georgia, News Free Press, Player of the Week. Hobbies are hunting, weightlifting. Best game was against Rockmart. Sports and activities, basketball and track. Favorite team, Denver Broncos. Favorite sports star, Lawrence Taylor. Seasonal success because he had the best coaching staff in North Georgia and everybody played together with a lot of emotion that together wins a ball game. Sports has taught him nothing comes easy. You have to work hard to be and gain something in life. Ricky Willard is not through playing football. Ricky Willard will probably go on and play college football, should sign probably within the next month. He's a definite college prospect with a lot of ability, and a lot of people ran away from Ricky Willard this year also.
I'd like to thank my family, and most importantly, the coaching staff at Lafayette High School.
That concludes our 28 All-Stars. We'll be back after a commercial break to make more presentations here at the All-Star Football Extravaganza 1991. We'll keep this thing rolling. All right. We'll come back, Gabe. We'll go with the... Welcome back to the All-Star Football Extravaganza. One guy I forgot to introduce over here. He's a guy that puts all y'all in the paper and takes pictures all the time. Stand up with the Walk County Messenger, the Catoosa County News, 3 or 4 more papers out of Rome, Cedartown, and he works for everybody. It's Mr. Chris Kirby. He's a great guy. You know, there's a lot of ways to describe coaches. And I think that the Lafayette players tonight probably describe their coaching staff about as good as you can describe them. I told you earlier in the show that I was proud of him. I remember when he came back and applied for the Ridgeland job, and I told him this last night. I said, you know, Raven, you see you guys grow up and you remember how you were, and then you wonder, you say, and you don't see him for a while. And I'm not going to say I remember he was a snotty-nosed kid, because I don't think he was ever that. He always carried himself well. He always held his shoulders back and was impressive. He was the kind of football player that would give it everything he's got from the time it started to the time it ended. And the only time he got mad is when Coach Brown pulled him out, and that's because he wanted to go right back in there and play again. And I think when you say somebody truly loves the game, Raven Teague loves the game. He walked into Lafayette High School, he had a plan. He had it all wrote down in a book. He told me one time, he said, I'm a good copier. And everywhere he went, he listened and he learned, and he learned and he listened. He learned at UTC, he learned at Clark Central, he learned everywhere he went. And then he put it all together, and it became Raven Teague's way. And I think in the last 2 years, with Lafayette being in the state playoffs, and I looked out there, and you see some of the bigger guys, Willard and Johnson here, and some of these big specimens. But I looked out there against Cartersville. They were big. They were as big as Cartersville's big as it gets. One of the biggest high school football teams I'd ever seen. And I saw some of those legs sticking out from in those pants that weren't very big. Some of them was playing in the line. They were playing against guys bigger, with more physical ability than they probably had. But Raven Teague and his coaching staff and the way they do things and making people be there at 6 o'clock in the morning for 2 weeks. If you're not there at 6 o'clock in the morning for 2 weeks, guys, you don't get a uniform, do you? Don't get to hit nobody. And can you imagine in today's time when we can't get our kids out of bed to go to school at 8:30, he's got them there at 6 o'clock in the morning? A man told me in North Georgia you could do things like that. The kids wouldn't respond. They'd all quit. Well, they didn't quit, and Lafayette still hadn't quit. And I still think they beat Cartersville, but every time I look up on the scoreboard, it was different. He's a coach of the year. I'm very proud of him, and I have utmost respect for Raven Teague, Lafayette High School.
Anytime a head coach receives an award like this, what in essence is being said is there's a coalition of people that are being honored. The success we've had at Lafayette High School the past 2 seasons has very little to do with me, but more so with a group of what I call the 4 essential elements for high school athletics to be successful. They are administration, community, staff, and young people. The administration at Lafayette High School is very supportive. They let a coach do his job. They hire you, and he lets you do your job. Sometimes people don't respect or appreciate what you're doing for them, but the administration backs you up, and I thank Gene Klontz and his staff for that. Secondly, the community. We talk about children being our future, but so many times in our communities, they don't get involved in the school. And in the high school, if the children are our future, then the high school is the source of the future for the community. We've done a real good job at Lafayette supporting our young people the last 2 years. The community of Lafayette has raised over $60,000 in 2 years for our athletic club. Every time we participate anywhere in the state of Georgia, there's going to be a lot of black and orange there, and the kids know they're behind them and supporting them. So the community is also important. Third phase is a staff. I have a very young, enthusiastic staff that's willing to put in the time. They are all dedicated. They are morally conscious, religious people that care about kids, and I think that kids show that and respond. I appreciate all the nice things they've said about myself and the staff tonight. I appreciate my coaching staff. Fourthly is young people, and that's what we're in the business for. The young people of Lafayette, like Stump made reference to, they've been exceptional. I've placed major demands on them. Sometimes I'm stubborn and won't accept anything else, but they have responded. Whether it be spending their whole summer 4 times a week, the entire summer out lifting weights, or whether it be coming at 6:30, not 6 o'clock, but 6:30. That's early enough. It's early enough for me. 6:30 in the morning coming and doing those things, running 440s. If you don't have perfect attendance in the summer, you have to run 12 consecutive 440s just to get your uniform. The kids have responded, had great participation. They do these things. I want to share with you for just a second the young people of Lafayette. They don't realize, but this particular team and the community and the cheerleaders gave me my greatest moment as a coach at the Cartersville game. And I'll get a little bit more in detail in just a second. I've had many great experiences in coaching. I was fortunate enough to be on the staff at Clark Central that played Valdosta in 1989 for the state championship in front of 20,000 people. And that was a big moment for me. But this year, prior to the Cartersville game, we had a run-through. Let me give you a little background on that. We have a team chaplain that travels with us everywhere we go to football camp. Mr. McElhaney, Charles McElhaney, does a great job inspiring kids. He picks out a verse of Scripture every year that he uses to expand on throughout the year. He talks about not necessarily religious things. Everything's centered around religion, but he talks about being a good son, a good citizen, a good team member, and all of that comes from this one verse of Scripture. Well, without my knowledge of it, or the cheerleading sponsor, any coaches, prior to the Cartersville game, I had a group of seniors went to the cheerleading seniors, and they decided what they wanted. And you got to remember now, the Cartersville game, this is the first round of the state playoffs. We knew that Cartersville would probably be the state champions if they beat us. So this is probably the biggest moment that these young people have had in their lives till this date. I'm standing out there on the field prior to the game, and on a 20, I'm trying not to get emotional because this really touches my heart. On about 20-yard banner, 12 feet high, it raised up and it says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." It is because our program at Lafayette High School has had that impact on young people that I accept this honor with great respect and appreciation. Thank you very much.
That's what high school football is all about. Offensive Player of the Year. Let me reach over here and grab the right one, maybe. Nope, that's defense. We won the toss. We elected to receive tonight, so we'll go on offense first. Offensive Player of the Year. Well, I may have tipped my hand earlier in the show. But this guy, like I said, they gave it to him, they gave it to him, they gave it to him, and when he couldn't run anymore, they gave it to him again. I saw him one night start right against West Rome. West Rome shut it completely down. I thought it was over. Here come a black uniform running out of the pile heading the other way. Ended up being like a 14-yard gain. A lot of God-given ability. 1,419 yards rushing. 15 touchdowns. The workhorse of Lafayette Ramblers, the best offensive player of the year, Shane Suttles, Lafayette High School.
One person I forgot to thank the last time I came up to the mic was my coach, Teague. I'd like to thank him for giving me the chance to run the ball. At the beginning of the year, I didn't want to run the ball. I wanted to play defense. But he stayed behind me and told me I can run the ball. So we tried it out, and this is what happened. This is what came out of it. I'd like to say thank you to Coach Teague and the coaching staff, and thanks to you. Thanks, bro.
Defensive Player of the Year. I'm 38 years old. I've been around football for a pretty good while. I call it a long time. When you guys get to be 38, you'll know it's been a long time. I've seen a lot of performances. I've played against some fine players. And when I say fine players, I'm talking about people like Harvey Martin, Big John Williams. I've seen some guys come through here from this area that put on some of the best shows. I'm talking the Ricky Townsends, the Bobby Scotts, the Reggie Whites. We can go on and on. But never in my days of watching high school football have I ever watched a performance I watched at Cartersville. I saw a kid make 21 tackles or 22, and I think I missed a few of them. He made tackles when he was on the ground. He made tackles when he was falling backwards. He made tackles in their backfield. He had blood running down his face. He looked like the old Y.A. Tittle picture where he's there gasping for breath, where he just had his sternum smashed. He don't weigh but about 185, 190 pounds with rocks in his pocket. He's probably not tall enough to play college football. But what high school football is all about is people that want it, like Casey Rudy, our Defensive Player of the Year. And it's spelled right this time.
Boy, this is a great honor. I don't know what to say about it. Like I said, there's only one person I deserve this for, too, and that's God.
Thanks, big guy. You know, when you start talking about a most valuable player, you talk about a most valuable player in many different ways. What is a most valuable player? I've always had a way that I looked at a most valuable player. I said, if I go over to this basketball team and I pull Michael Jordan off, what are they going to be without Michael Jordan? We know what the Bulls will be without Michael Jordan. Or if I go over and I pull Jim Kelly off this team, what's the Buffalo Bills going to be without Jim Kelly? And I watched this guy play this year, and every game I watched him play, I thought, is he really doing that good? And I looked at the stats, and he's doing pretty doggone good. And I wondered why they wouldn't let him play defense anymore. He just kept on rolling up the yardage, better and better and better. And against Ringo, when one of the best games I've got a chance to see all year. I didn't get to see it live, but that night when Debbie and them got home, I got a chance to watch Lakeview and Ringo over again. And I thought Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe was out of it 2 or 3 times, and they just kept on coming back and just kept on coming back. This guy passed for over 1,000 yards this year. He's not the tallest. He's not the best looking. He's not the fastest. And he's probably not the smartest kid here tonight. But he's as valuable to Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe High School football team as any kid I've seen in a long time, and I think F.E. Brown will tell you the same thing. Our most valuable player of the year, over 1,000 yards passing, Sean Crawford, Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe.
I'd like to thank you for this award stump, and I'd like to thank Coach Brown for his pushing me as hard as he did. Thank you.
He spent a lot of time out in the front yard throwing passes to his daddy, who I know is not as fast as any of those other guys he throws to. Okay, what we got here? Okay, before we get into the other awards, I've got 2 more I need to present here. read this to you. You people from Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe will like this one. Awarded to Ken Marks, Voice of the Warriors. This is a certified that Big Chief Ken has earned his Warrior headdress for sending positive LFO smoke signals about Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe football throughout the North Georgia area. He's the voice of the Warriors, Ken Marks. And Ken, sorry you couldn't be with us tonight, but this guy loves all of you guys, and boy, he'll spend the time and effort it takes. I know Michael Brown called me one day, and our stats were a little bit off, and of course, Michael will tell you sometimes dealing with Lakeview, Fort Oglethorpe on stats is like pulling teeth, but we write them down on napkins and all kinds of stuff, but I'm not giving Coach Brown an award for that tonight. But Ken Marks went back and took every one of y'all's game films and watched them all and refigured all your tackles because they missed a couple games, make sure you guys had your tackles right, and spent all night doing that to make sure. But Ken Marks, Voice of the Warriors, Big Chief Ken. Congratulations, Ken. And let's see, I got another one here. You know, like Arden and James and Metcalf and Thompson and all you guys, Jonathan, all you guys from Ridgeland, John Rouse has been y'all's announcer the last 2 years. And John hadn't had the opportunity to call many wins, and I always take the Lakeview game away from him. So, like I said, John got a chance to call one for Lakeview last year down at Fairmount, and he ain't got to call many wins in football since. But by George, every Friday night, if you're playing at Southeast Whitfield, wherever you guys were playing, even when you went to, where was that place way down in the middle of nowhere? Logansville. He got in that car and he went with you. This is awarded to John Rouse. This is to certify that Big Cat John has earned his right to be called the voice of the Panthers for the positive roars he sent out to the Ridgeland High School football throughout North Georgia. So Big Cat John, if you can get through, come get this award. Hey, I told y'all he had to do some singing. Now, he's Southern Baptist, and they don't do singing, they do singing, and they must have sang a little bit extra than that. Congratulations, Mr. Ralph.
Appreciate it. Appreciate this. Sorry I'm late. I had to do some choir leading in that, so that's why I am late. He's right. But I say this every year, but getting to announce football and basketball games to me is a dream I dreamed about a long time ago as a kid. And I'm looking forward to a lot of good things out of Ridgeland next year. We're going to get better. We're going to get better. Thank you, Steph.
You hired a coach yet?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
We're hard at work, though.
Everybody, every time you mention Ridgeland, if they hired a coach, that's all you hear. Let's go at a commercial break, and we come back. We have some more awards to present as we wind down the AllStar Football Extravaganza 1991. Let me see, wait a minute, I got to decide which one I'm presenting now. I just got 4 awards left? Okay. Welcome back to the All-Star Football Extravaganza. We've gave a lot of awards away, but there's more to go, and we're winding it on down. And I want to thank you folks for being patient here. And it's hot and it's cold outside. You know, we know we got an Arctic front moving in, but we got things heated up in here. And while we got things heated up, let's just keep on rolling right along. Let me pull this off, see who this is. We started this award. Like I said, we talked to Mr. Palmer and Mr. Jerry Trett a long time ago about starting this, and we got it all started. After a few years, I got to thinking, you know, these guys, a lot of people wait till somebody passes away to give something in their name. So then we never get to enjoy it. And I always thought the biggest honor you could be paid is to have somebody give something in your name. And we named this after Mr. John Palmer, Community Federal Savings Bank, for all he's done. And it's the John Palmer Citizenship Award. And this is named for the player that, when he goes out in the community, best represents himself as what you would want a citizen to be. This young man I've had a chance to work with, talk to, follow him for the past 4 years. Very polite young man, very sincere young man, very intelligent young man. The kind of guy that maybe one of these days becomes a circuit court judge or a state representative or something like that. I think he's got his best years ahead of him. A good football player, but I think will make an even more outstanding citizen. And this says presented by This Week in Sports, the John Palmer Award for Outstanding Citizenship, Gordon Lee High School's Jason Parish.
Congratulations, big guy. I'd like to thank y'all for this award. Thank you.
A lot of these awards are chosen by our staff, and that's John and Marshall and myself, and we talk to coaches, and Lindsey Young, of course, who also writes down here with me with the county papers, and anybody else we talk to. But this award is not chosen by us. I can't do anything about this one. I can't this one. I can't this one. Now we get it straight. Wrong award. This award is to the highest academic accomplishment on this football team. Sorry, Johnny, you didn't get it this year. And I was calling around asking, getting the averages. And then when I called one coach, I didn't call some of the other coaches back. And I told them, I said, if you got anybody, I ask them all when they come here tonight, I said, you got anybody that tops that, I'll buy 2 awards. And this young man may have held the defensive secondary together for Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe, but he's going to do a lot more than that in the future. 98-point grade point average for 4 years of high school, Mr. Steve Burgess, Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe. I'm telling you, Rudy, I thought that was your temperature, 98.6.
I don't think we're supposed to. I've never told anyone this, but there's one person that I'd like to really thank for this award, and that's my sister. She's been a real inspiration to me throughout my high school years, and I'd just like to thank her. Thanks, Carol.
All my life I've wondered why I never excelled in, I never had a sister. I know now the problem. We've got a new award this year. I got to looking around with our awards and I said, we don't have an award on leadership. Being a great leader. And there's one man that's a personnel man up here at Hutchinson Medical Center who's been a big inspiration to me. A fine fella. I enjoy working with him and dealing with him on things. And his name is Jack Yankovic. So I thought it'd be proper to name a leadership award after Jack Yankovic because he leads the whole staff at Hutchinson Medical Center. He's behind all you kids, and of course we have our Center for Sports Medicine and what Hutchinson Medical Center does for you athletes, and I know how many of y'all been taped up and all that. Jack Yankovic means a lot to this community, so we decided to name an award after Jack Yankovic. Jack Yankovic Award for Outstanding Leadership. And I'm convinced that leaders are probably born and not made necessarily. You can better yourself, but I think there's something down deep inside that makes a leader. And every time I've been around this guy, it seemed to just come out just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And he'd make you want to follow him. You'd watch the rest of the players, and if one of them got out of line or something, he'd real nicely, he wouldn't grab them and jerk them up, but he'd say something to them. And even from the time when he was a sophomore playing, he had leadership qualities, and as I said earlier, he meant as much to his team as the sophomores, a lot of the seniors did. I always thought he was older because of the way he handled himself. From Ringgold High School, the Jack Yankovic Award for Outstanding Leadership goes to Jody Roach.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
I'd just like to thank everybody again and thank you all for the award. That's about it. Thank you.
You know, we look back on our high school careers and we were going through school, and I think every class has somebody that a tragedy took them away from us, or something happened that we'll always remember. But I guess it's 3 football seasons ago now, Coach Hickson. Has it been that long? That seemed like only yesterday. It's funny how the tragedies stick more in your mind. But I was driving to the Catoosa County News, and I heard on the radio that there'd been a wreck. And there were some boys in the car. And you know how you get these feelings that you knew who it was. Well, J.J. Chambers left us that day. And I'd watched J.J. Chambers grow up. And like Coach Teague, when I get to this part of it, I'll probably get a little bit emotional. Because I never want to see any of you guys leave us, especially before your time and before you're through. At that time, we decided that we would give a J.J. Chambers Award because the type kid that J.J. was. And they were on the way back to football practice that day for 2 days. But J.J. Chambers, from the time I watched him make 18 tackles as an 8-year-old in the Mock Bowl over here in East Ridge, until the last time that I watched him play, had that desire, that All-American attitude, that smile on his face. He didn't go anywhere that he met a stranger. He was friendly. Everybody loved J.J. So when we named this award a J.J. Chambers Sportsmanship Award, I probably worked harder trying to find that one kid in this group that best matches the sportsmanship, the All-American attitude, as J.J. did. And it was probably easier this year than any other year to choose this guy. Because after every football game that I covered for them, he was always in the middle of the field. If it was at Lafayette, he knew all y'all. He shook your hand. If it was at Ringo, he was over there talking to Coach Patterson, hugging his neck, shaking his hand. He's been this way in everything he did. If I had him on television, he always had that smile on his face, and every hair was in place, and everything was like it was supposed to be. And he never has anything bad to say about anybody. And like we were talking about Todd Hood earlier, this boy was a quarterback at the first of the season. After the first ball game, he shared the quarterback job with Cornelius Burris. And after the game, when I talked to him, all he wanted to do was talk about how good Cornelius did. And he'd had an integral part in the ball game also. So in memory of J.J. Chambers, Gordon Lee High School football player who displayed an All-American attitude and showing outstanding sportsmanship, I'd like to present the J.J. Chambers 1991 Sportsmanship Award to Ridgeland High School's Jonathan Allen. Congratulations, big guy.
Well, I'd like to say one thing. I knew J.J. Chambers, and it's true, he never had a bad thing to say about anybody. Truthfully, he was one of the nicest guys you'd like to know. And I really don't think that I fit his shoes, because he was really just an all-around great guy. But I do thank you for this award.
Thanks, big guys. That's actually going to conclude the awards. Thank goodness we didn't have a guest speaker tonight. We'd still be winding down, but that's going to conclude things for us tonight. And I had all these notes I was going to talk about, but I'm not going to keep you here any longer. I've enjoyed being here tonight. I've enjoyed another year of high school football. Again, I think we're going to continue to go up. We're going to continue to get better. The players are going to get better. But one thing I would like to leave you with, and it's something that disturbs me. Of the top 20 high school football prospects in the state of Georgia this year, 11 of them academically cannot go to college. People ask me every day, Stump, why do we not have North Georgia high school football players playing college football? It's not because they're too little. It's not because they don't have the ability. I talk to high school football coaches every day. You know what our biggest problem is? Academics. I've got kids in this room that could play for any football team in the southeastern part of the United States, athletically. And that's a shame. And we've got to do something about it. Me, you, Mom, Dad, coaches, everybody. We've got to do something about it. We're missing educations. We're missing opportunities. We have the athletic ability, but we don't have the guidance that is taken to get the job done. When I see a Stephen Burgess step up here with a 98 average, and I read a story the other day written by Terrence Moore in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and a lady who is the academic advisor for Georgia Tech has proven that if you get the athletic abilities from your right side of your brain, that you have the same abilities from your left side of the brain where you get math and English and physics. And I understand, because when I finished high school, the only reason I wanted to go to college is because I wanted a football jersey and a football uniform. And the only way I knew I could go to college and play football is if I made those grades. And I fine-lined everything just like a lot of you guys did. I just barely made it, barely made it, barely made it. We've got to do something about this. We can look at all the posters and all the things as far as that goes, but we've got to do something about this. And in closing, I'm going to bring the smart Martin through and let him close things out, because he did have the grades, and I'm proud of him because he finished his college education. Now he's got him a job as an accountant at Ole Mills. He can't play football anymore. He had his pleasure of playing football at Rossville High School. It's over. But he's got the degree. I waited so late in life. I didn't listen. I still have trouble talking. Somebody has to read everything that I write before y'all can put it out in the paper. I'm not ashamed of it. I wished it wasn't that way. But I wished I'd have listened. And I'm going to let Marshall close it out tonight. It's been a pleasure being with y'all.
Thanks a lot, Martin, for the introduction. I guess three things that drive me, or should drive everyone, I would think, would be to want to work hard, be a hard worker, set goals. Of course, hard work got you where you are tonight. Never set a goal that you don't think that you can reach, because they all can be reached. When I was about that high, I told Marvin, I said, you know, I'm going to be an accountant someday. I finally made it, not that it's that good, but it was good for me because I set my goals to do that. And I really enjoy it. And I wouldn't take anything for what I learned through sports, and I had a good coach in Coach Lynn Murdoch that taught me a lot about sports, which in turn taught me a lot about life. And I know that all these coaches here tonight do a great job of coaching, but they also do a great job of teaching you young men about life. And they teach you how to cope with situations, whether they come easy to you or whether times really get tough and you really got to look back and you got to dig down deep. I think these coaches do a great job of showing you how to dig down deep and get to the bottom of the matter. And in closing, I like to say that you must be willing to prepare. And I said this last year, and this is my drive every day. This is really the saying that keeps me going. And whether it deals with work, whether it deals with school, I race triathlons, whether it deals with triathlons. It's about being a winner. And it kind of goes like this, and I think you take it for what it's worth. The will to win means nothing without the will to prepare. And I think that applies to everything. And I hope that all of you can use that somewhere down the road. And thanks a lot, and thank you, Marvin, for allowing me to be a part of North Georgia sports, because it's really an honor for me to be able to give back to these young men what I had and what I learned through sports. Thank you, Marvin.
Okay, if we will, let's everybody please stand, and I'm going to ask Coach Don Patterson to come close this with a word of prayer, because I don't think any of us would have achieved our abilities, you've heard the guys say here today, if it wasn't for God in heaven above. Coach Patterson.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to gather here, for the country we live in, the freedoms we have, the opportunity to enjoy this wonderful sport. We thank you for these parents and their support with these youngsters. We thank you for the opportunity to work with them each day, for the blessing that they bring to our lives, for the learning situations that they help us even with, but especially for the opportunity to work with them and help them to deal and cope with life situations today. Lord, we thank you for the provisions you give us for health and strength and every opportunity of life. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
That concludes All-Star Football Extravaganza 1991. Thanks for tuning in, and it's been a pleasure.